Ready?
Steady.
Go. Here at Lloyds Banking Group, there's no such thing as just an apprentice. I'm in a position to say whether our products are fair, ethical and designed to help Britain prosper.
That moment when you realise you're in a team managing over £150 billion in funds.
It isn't all finance all the time. I led a partnership with Macmillan to help our customers access better cancer care.
Everyone knows you can trust Lloyds. I've seen our bold sustainability commitments and every day I see us following through.
1 minute I'm leaving uni with my sports science degree. The next I'm in a room thinking of ideas to help millions of families during the pandemic.
I work in financial crime, international sanctions. As you can imagine, it's a pretty interesting place to be right now.
1 minute you're reading about the cost of living crisis and the next you're writing a briefing paper on it.
Off the back of my dissertation on DevOps pipelines, I went into an engineering role and now I'm rolling it out company-wide.
We all got million subscription nowadays, so my team built a tool that helps 18 million customers manage them in our app.
When it's not developing with React or Redux, it's gaming with the other grads or the odd night out.
I couldn't be prouder of my outreach work through Lloyds, helping school-age girls and non-binary people get into coding.
My next step, go for an associate director role, either in my team or something new and exciting. How's that for a rotation?
Hello everyone and welcome to Lloyds Careers Live. My name's Elaine and I'm going to be your host today, one of your two hosts. I hope you've all had a really great summer. It's September, so it's the time when many of you will be back at school. Some of you not. In Scotland, you might have been back for a few weeks now, but it's another new year for us here at Lloyds Careers Live, where every first Tuesday of every month, we're going to be exploring a new career pathway through the eyes of apprentices, graduates and school leavers who are making their way into the world of work. So you wouldn't believe how busy our summer has been. And we know that some of you have also had results. And now we're into September, which is a brand new year for schools, colleges, and also for us at Lloyds Careers Live. So as I said, I'm not on my own today. I'm joined by my colleague, Ian. Ian?
Hey.
Hello. Where did the summer go?
I don't know, do you know? But then the summer came back. That was the thing, really, isn't it? Because summer was here in June. And then July and August, it kind of like went all a bit wobbly. And then, well, I'm speaking to you tonight from our hub site in Bristol. So we're in the harbour side out there. Can see loads of people having their lovely kind of ice creams or ciders wandering around outside. It looks absolutely glorious in there. And yeah, it does feel like, and outside there's the paddling pools and there's all kids in there. And it does feel like a weird one where summer came back. But yeah, it's been a really busy summer. Where we've been delivering loads of work experience as well for students here in our Harbourside building. So I think we've only had 1 week off during the summer, and then here we are back again here at Careers Live.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been so much going on, hasn't there? We've talked, you know, we've done lots and lots of things around school engagement, work experience, and various different things. But like you say, we're back with a big bang, and tonight's Careers Live is all about project management. So project management. Now, does someone wake up one morning and think, I'd like to be a project manager? Not sure. I mean, what even is it? So project management is something that is all around us. So it often happens in the background without anyone noticing. But it is really, on very basic terms, it's all about the way that things get built, big things in particular. So physical things like railways, bridges, and even things like the Channel Tunnel and stuff. But it is really all about you know, the way that services are built. So if you were to pick up your iPhone or your Android phone or download an app or whatever, all of that stuff in terms of that process through which the app has to be built, that is all using project management.
Yeah, now often when we present Careers Live, Elaine and I are learning all about careers for the first time alongside you. But tonight I have a little bit of an advantage because I know a little bit about project management. I'm not going to be as good as our experts, but I do know a little bit. So over time with Lloyds, I've managed projects and programs, some big and some really, really small. And in fact, lots of people at Lloyds will be managing projects, whether they have project management in the title or don't. So projects in some shape or another, even though they may not have the job title of project manager in there. So Elaine, for example, we both in our roles, we also have to organize events and celebration awards, National Apprenticeship Week, which is coming up in February. And some of that involves elements of project management at the time. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I think, a lot of it is around planning and making sure that everything's in place to ensure that what you're planning to deliver actually happens on time, as planned, and within budget, etc. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, like you, Ian, we've got some experience with project management, but we have got our experts here to talk about that in a bit more detail today.
Yeah. So project management is a really interesting career. If you're the kind of person who doesn't like to sit around and do the same thing all of the time. So if you like variety, project management is there. So often in Lloyds, we try to deliver projects within a fixed period of time. So sometimes maybe kind of like within a 12-month period or maybe 18-month period. So as a project manager every year, you get a new project to work on with a new group of people to work with and always new things to learn. And I could say, departing from script, I've done some really strange things as a project manager for Lloyds. So at one stage, I was running a fleet of vans, even though I don't know my way around an engine of a vehicle whatsoever. And I've also run a chain of coffee shops during my time for Lloyds Banking Group as a project manager. So there are very strange things that you get to learn through all of this variety as well. And it's like having a new job every so often, but without having to interview for it or apply for it at the same time. So in tonight's Careers Live, we want to give you access to people who've got lots of experience in project management, as well as people who are learning the ropes as well. So on tonight's project, on Careers Live tonight, we have Daryl, who's dialing in today from our Chester office. Daryl's got a long established career in people and project management. He's currently leading one of the largest one-of-a-kind international projects ever undertaken in Lloyds Banking Group. No pressure there, Daryl. We also have Fraser, who's one of our most experienced project managers. Fraser's led change and transformation for Lloyds Banking Group over a number of years, and we'll be exploring with Fraser what kind of mindset and experience makes for a great project manager and how project management has changed over time. And then we have Chris. Chris Ashton works in the field of technology resilience, and he can tell us all about project management within a specialist field as well. So lots of different experts to tap into.
Brilliant. Yeah. And I mean, from your perspective, guys, you're going to want to be keen to understand, how do you get started in project management? What subjects do you study, and what sort of things that will help you make your career choice? So that's what it's all about today, really. As Ian said, we're going to introduce you to Fraser, Daryl and Chris. They've all been managing projects for quite a while in different parts of Lloyds Banking Group. So we'll chat to them. But I'm also going to be introducing Sharon, Liam and Olivia, who have been on their own apprenticeship journeys to learn all about being a project manager. So there's really a lot for you to discover tonight.
So it's really important that our live streams are accessible to everybody. So if you're joining us on Zoom or on YouTube this evening, you can enable closed captioning. It's down there, depending on whether you're on Zoom or YouTube in there. Just press the button. And if you want a bit more time to digest things that we talk about, then don't forget that when this event finishes this evening, immediately on the Lloyds YouTube channel, there will be a link appearing in the chat sometime during tonight. You can catch the replay of tonight's live stream, and you can digest everything there, plus all the past episodes of Lloyds Careers Live on YouTube.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Lloyds Careers Live, as we've always said, is all about helping you to imagine what's next for you. So you'll be able to interact with us tonight, ask questions of all of our guests, how careers at Lloyds work, and anything else that's on your mind. And as Ian said, the best way to do this is through the chat function in Zoom, or you can actually put comments on YouTube as well.
Excellent. Okay, so speaking of the chat then, Elaine, let's put Zoom through its paces. Now, most of us are back from our summer holidays. We usually ask people where they're dialing in from, but let's mix it up a bit. So Elaine, I know you're partial to a few city breaks every now and again in there. So why don't we ask people to put in what countries they have visited this year on their jolly holidays? So over on that way on the chat, depending on which way around your screen is, why don't you just pop in the chat where let's have a look, see where people have been. So So Gareth has been
to Iceland.
Iceland and Italy. So there's a bit of hot and cold thing going on.
Oh,
Look at that.
oh,
We've got
nice.
Rome,
Santorini.
very
I'd like
nice.
to go there.
Yeah. Harry's been to Spain, the USA, and Turkey. So Harry's
Yeah.
been all over the place. Paris, Portugal, fantastic. Well, I hope you all had
Brilliant.
some fantastic time. Elaine, you're partial to some city
Well,
breaks
yes.
as well.
I've been to Cologne in Germany this year. I have also been to Marbella in Spain. So, yeah, I mean, you know, if you can get to do a bit of travel, it's always good, isn't it? But yeah, it's just great to see that, you know, normally you have people from all different locations on these calls, though, don't we, Ian? And it's great to hear from you. So do keep the chat going. We want to hear all your questions and things. So, but before we do all of that, let's dive in now, I think, with our first session with our experts. So I'm really, really pleased to introduce you to Daryl, Chris and Fraser. So hi, everybody. Welcome to Lloyds Careers Live. It's great for you that you can join us today. So I think, you know, from our perspective, I think let's start things off and sort of chat. So let's come to you first, Daryl. So Daryl, how do you explain, like, you know, where do you work? I know you work in Lloyds Banking Group. What do you do? And how do you explain to, like, your friends and family what it is that you actually do? Because we're trying to make it really clear, aren't we, about what project management is?
No, absolutely. Thanks, Elaine, for the introduction, and good evening, everyone. So how do I explain what I do? So first of all, I sit within group learning as part of Lloyds Banking Group. And some of my daily responsibilities include looking after different learning curriculums. So very much in the same way that from a school or university perspective, you have a designed curriculum that will take you through a series of learning topics and through a series of different learning interventions. My role is really quite similar in actually how we're supporting colleagues of Lloyds Banking Group to go through a series of different learning curriculums that fundamentally, A, helps them to be the best, and B, it helps them to do the job that they do to the best possible outcome that they can. So my role is very much a supporting role in terms of how we're supporting all colleagues across the group to fundamentally do their best for our customers.
Brilliant. Well, that does sound really interesting, Daryl. And like I say, I think, you know, I'm sure that your friends and family are often asking you about what you're working on and things like that in your different projects and things that you manage. I mean, what about you, Fraser? How would you describe what you do to your friends and family?
I would describe to my friends and family that I make sure the things that they use within the banking space that they work, they're accessible, they can access it. So say via online banking, via any portal that they go into. That's my job, to make that work and make it happen. To the rest of my family who know me best, who live in the house with me, I talk on a screen all day. That's all I do. I stare at a screen on Teams meetings most of the time. But yes, that's what I do officially for Lloyd. So I manage people and manage projects so that we can make it happen for our colleagues and customers.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Well, you know, we'll get a chance to speak to you guys a little bit more. But Chris, coming to you next. What about you? How do you describe what you do?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned for me technology resilience, and just to put that into the official words, if you think about when you update Windows or you update your iPhone software, that's the type of thing we do for Lloyd's systems, but we're doing it for systems that have 20 million people logging onto them every week. So it's obviously quite complicated, and it's quite difficult to try and find a way to disturb those people as little as possible. The unofficial phrase is, as a project manager, you're like a shepherd. Okay. The team is your flock, you gather them all together, you all agree where you're going, and then about 2 hours later, you go round them up where they wandered off to do something totally different or watch the football or whatever, and you just keep bringing them back and reminding them what we're meant to be doing and when we're meant to do it by. So, you know, there's the technical side, but there's also an awful lot about dealing with people and, you know, good and bad. You have some difficult days, but some really brilliant ones as well when you actually deliver something worthwhile.
It's such a really good point there, Chris, as well. I've got you down as like being the sheepdog now. I've got this vision.
No, not the sheepdog, the shepherd.
The shepherd. Do you have other people to do the sheepdog bit for you?
Oh,
Is it
definitely.
darting
Quite a
around?
lot of those.
Yeah. So you raised a really interesting point there, don't you, about in project management, there'll be kind of like the hard skills that you need to learn, the kind of technical skills, but also what kind of aptitudes it really suits for people. So I'm interested in what you think, what kind of personality or skills are kind of helpful in this kind of field.
I mean, it's interesting. I wouldn't want to say that there's a particular personality, because I've seen people do project management really, really quietly and behind the scenes and sort of almost with no visible effort at all. And there's obviously at the other end the shouters and the screamers who luckily are getting a bit rarer these days.
Yeah.
But the key thing is you really need to listen to people to understand their problems and actually spend time working out as a team how to solve them. The reason we work as a team is because nobody in the team knows everything. And the project manager's job is to help, not referee, but give everybody the opportunity to talk and actually work through those problems so you get to a team view of what we can actually do to solve an issue.
Yeah. And I mean, it's useful to hear about some of the skills, I think, isn't it, Ian? When you think, a lot of people will be thinking, oh, what do I need to learn in order to be a project manager and stuff? I mean, some of those skills and things that you mentioned there, Chris, I mean, Fraser, do you think that any of those skills are things that people could learn at school potentially?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, skills wise, like Chris said, be a good listener. Be a good listener. Listen to people. If you like, probably with project manager, if you like organising things, like you like organising, get together with mates and everything like that, whilst you're at school, project management might be good for you, because I can remember as a teenager, and going into my teens and 20s, I always organised friends to get together, go out for a meal, go out for a drink, go on holiday and stuff like that. I enjoyed that, and that gradually led to doing that. But yeah, it's a mix. I suppose it's a mixed set. You need a broad set of, there's things that you can pick up from doing on the job work alongside more experienced people. But if you have the ability to try something everything once, then that works for project management, because you have to have a little bit of knowledge of a lot of things.
Yeah, so I'm getting the really strong impression that actually those personal skills that you have, your personality and your ability to work with other people, is super important in this role. It's not kind of like a one person job in there. And of course, I think it's easy for us to forget that at school, if you're doing things like organising a birthday party, if you're taking part if Duke of Edinburgh scheme is in your school and you've been doing those things, and you will have organised your expedition. So there are different things that you're doing at school, even kind of planning your study for your GCSEs or your A-levels, your exam, your revision study. There's all those kind of organising things in there. So Daryl, what do you think are the kind of bits that give you the most joy? I know that you're at a critical moment in your big international project because it's so close to implementation. But what are the bits that actually kind of go, actually, this is the bit I really like about my role?
So that's a question, Ian. So I think there are a couple of different things. So I think the first thing is for those that are really, curious about how things work, and also how we, want to deliver something, or you want to fix something. Having that kind of mindset to think about, there's a particular problem or there's a particular challenge that our customers might face, and you're thinking about what might some of those fixes or solutions quite be. That's really quite interesting. I think the other part that I enjoy sometimes, and this might sound a little bit alien, but it's sometimes dealing with the uncertainty or the ambiguity of things. So where choices aren't particularly clear, or where decisions aren't particularly clear, it's a little bit like, deciding where you want to go on holiday, and you've got a choice of about perhaps 30 different destinations, and You've no idea which one you're going to end up, but you're curious about lots of different places. It can be very, very similar. So sometimes dealing with lots of different questions, and they can vary in complexity from some things that are really quite easy to answer or get a decision on, or some things that could be really a lot more complex or a lot more difficult to work on. And I remember having a conversation with one of the organization's directors a number of years ago, where I really started to kind of play into a little bit of programs and projects that were quite uncertain or quite ambiguous. And I remember saying to him at the time, how do I work through this? What is going to be the best thing that I can do to help me through it? And the one thing he said to me, and it's always stuck with me, is one day you will look back and you will learn to love it. He said, one day you will look back and you will learn to love it. And hearing, kind of replaying those words now are some things that really kind of stuck with me over that time. So you kind of learn to love the ambiguity, you learn to love the uncertainty, and you learn to love and almost have a bit of a play in a space where actually it's up to you as a project team to actually decide where you want to take things in line with what the business needs. But one thing, just to kind of finish answering that question, is it doesn't matter what type of program management that you're in, you can't deliver it without the help of people. You have to really surround yourself with different people of different skill sets and different interests to help you to kind of achieve what you want to achieve. So I think, Ian, those are probably the three things that, from my perspective, I would kind of think about what I get most from project management.
That's fantastic. Elaine, you know, we could just keep going with these guys, but our show has to go on. So we've learned that with project management, it's important that you want to enjoy the ride as well as just get to the destination in there as well. So for Fraser and Chris and Daryl, thank you so much. Remember that if you've got questions that you want to ask of our guests or us, then you can put them in the chat, which on my screen is over there. On YouTube, it'll be the comments section underneath there. Some great expert insights there. So as you start to think about your future, it's not just what type of job you're going to do, but also what kind of workplace and work culture might suit you. So let's take a quick look now at some of our newest colleagues joining Lloyds Banking Group and how they found their first few days working with us.
Love to work at LBG. So it was the feeling that I got when I was welcomed by my team.
Helping people in the most vulnerable of moments.
There's always like some activities going on, fun activities.
Honestly, I actually really can't appreciate everyone enough.
When I joined the group, the first day itself was very warm and welcoming.
And fun as well, a bit of fun too when you were doing the learning and stuff. And
everybody's welcoming, warm, you feel at home.
Satisfaction when you finish the call and somebody's like, thank you, you've helped so much, just makes your day a little bit better.
It's just been very enlightening to have a team that actually supports me and gets me going and ready for work. I've never really had that before.
As a bit of a nerd, the technology is really appealing.
The systems, they're easy to learn.
I really do love it here, and the people are great, everyone is great, coming into the office is great.
My training was genuinely fantastic. It set you up for success.
You are free to express yourself.
There's a lot of stuff to do in Lloyds that outside of work.
I found the opportunities available very exciting.
It was easier to do the training with people that you can kind of get on with and have a laugh with.
There is always something that I learn every single day I'm at work.
I felt included from the start. It was really professional, really efficient.
I really enjoy the emphasis placed on personal growth and development.
Every avenue is open, you know, it's very friendly, people are willing to talk and share what they do.
Elaine, where's our heart?
Yeah,
where's our heart?
I know, we should have got one in, shouldn't we?
I was like, I'm going to have to go like that there. They do. Right, I'm going to complain to the producer. We need a heart. Anyway, over to you.
Next time. No, I mean, it is so nice to hear from our apprentices and stuff and the colleagues that work here at Lloyds Banking Group. And obviously, like you say, that's why we share. I know you'd rather hear from these guys and sort of hear from them yourselves. But actually, we've got some live apprentices here that are with us today, and we're going to chat now a little bit more to them to discover how apprenticeships in project management actually work. So I'd like to introduce you to some more of my colleagues. So we've got Sharon, Liam and Olivia. Hello guys. Now thank you for joining
Elaine.
us. Hello. Thanks for joining us, guys. So can I just let everyone into a little secret? Sharon is actually one of my colleagues. She works with me. in the apprenticeship team, running our apprenticeship programs. But Sharon herself has actually completed an apprenticeship in project management. So what we're going to do, Sharon, because in honour of this achievement of yours, what we're going to do is we're going to play this section a little bit differently tonight. So we thought, instead of me chatting to you guys, what we're going to do is, if you take the role of the interviewer, Sharon, so you're in the hot seat as someone who knows all about project management and apprenticeships, as we find out more about Liam and Olivia. So Sharon, tell us a little bit about yourself first of all.
I will.
Tell us about your project management experience.
I will. So good evening, everyone. Just to start by saying, I appreciate that someone noted their holiday location to be Wales. I think you're going to particularly enjoy this section because both myself, Liv and Liam representing the Welsh Massive. So welcome along this evening. So as Elaine says, I am part of the apprenticeship team here in Lloyds Banking Group, supporting colleagues joining our organisation, but also supporting colleagues within Lloyds Banking Group who are utilising apprenticeships to develop their skills in their current roles, or indeed where they're applying for new roles and developing their skills there. And as Elaine says, I did complete a project management, a level 4 program myself, as did my my esteemed colleague Olivia there. She's going to tell us a bit about her experience in a minute. And the apprenticeship programs do take lots of different arms. So the apprenticeship programs can be quite different. The people's routes to the apprenticeship programs can be quite different. So we've got Liam on the call here this evening as well. Liam actually joined us as a grad into Lloyds Banking Group, so he's going to share a bit about his experience as well, just to give you a range of how people come through the organisation and do reach apprenticeship programs. Just to say as well, I have been with the organisation for 27 years now. I know it's shocking. Still haven't quite decided what I want to do. But the size of the organisation means that you can have different careers, you can move and grow and have different skills throughout your career. That is enough about me. Liv, let's come to you first. So I recall many moons ago, you joined the organisation into IT. And you started there and then you went on and we completed a project management apprenticeship together as study buddies. So tell us from your perspective about your apprenticeship, but what's the stuff that you enjoy about being a project manager and being involved with projects?
Yeah, so thank you, Study Buddy. So yeah, certainly I did join in IT almost as long ago as you joined. And project management was not the job I was going to go for at all. And so if I think about how I ended up there, I moved from IT into training. Then I worked on a load of projects within training and thought, I quite fancy this. Tapped up you, Sharon. We did the apprenticeship. And then when I was on maternity leave, there was a restructure. And because I'd got my project management, I got placed into a project management role. And here I am. So that was, my daughter is 3. So that was 3 years ago. And I really, really, really do enjoy it. And I suppose the reason I did the apprenticeship was to formalise the stuff that I was doing in the day job. So I was effectively doing project management, but just not formally. So I thought I would just do the qualification to get recognised. And if I think what I enjoy about it, I do enjoy being organised. And I think Ian mentioned revision timetables. And I used to get constantly told off by my parents as a child for doing more rework in the revision timetable than doing any revision. So it's obviously in my blood. So I think it's been touched by others, but I enjoy the variety. So no 2 days are the same. Things come at you from left field and you've got to work with your new project team to work out how you can resolve that. You've got to come up with some problem solving. You've got to do some creative thinking. You've got to have a plan. You've got to know where you're going. And I love ticking off, and that sense of achievement, of achieving things is what helps me sleep at night. And I do particularly enjoy the size of Lloyds Banking Group. Means that I've worked on projects from, I'm actually working with Darryl on the project that he's working on. I've worked with insurance, I work within wealth. I've worked on a whole load of different projects, different topics, different systems, new technologies. The variety just keeps on coming. And the number of people that I work with and the relationships that you build in the group is really, really, really enjoyable.
Brilliant. Thanks, Liv. That's brilliant. Liam, your journey to Lloyds Banking Group was slightly different because you joined us originally on a grad scheme. That's right, isn't it? Tell us a little bit why you chose Lloyds Banking Group.
Sure. So I guess I chose Lloyds Banking Group mainly because of the grad scheme that was on offer. So I did a 2-year grad scheme with 3 8-month rotations, and then the level 7 master's degree apprenticeship alongside that. And then also for me, something that was really important was the chance to travel and live in new places, which I think is underrated with Lloyds Banking Group. Had it not been for COVID, I'd have lived in London for my first placement. Then I went out and lived in Jersey in the Channel Islands, and now I'm back in Cardiff, but working in Bristol. So, Lloyds has really given me the chance to be all over. So, yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. And what do you think, Liam, in terms of people considering a career? You've had a great experience, it sounds like, through the grad scheme. But if someone came up to you and said, oh, I'm not sure about, is it just working in a bank? Is it just working in a branch? Which I think lots of people, perhaps on the call today, are thinking, well, I see them on the high street. That's Lloyds Bank, isn't it? What would you say to them to sort of give them a better understanding of the organisation?
So I think there's 2 answers to that. The first part would be looking backwards. So, don't let what you've done so far by way of a degree, by way of A-levels, GCSEs, whatever it might be, define what job you can have. So I did French and Spanish as a degree. And then, long and the short of it is I've ended up at a bank. So I think that's the first thing. It's more about what skills you can demonstrate and what skills you've gained along the way. And then, more looking forward, I think particularly where I was from, quiet rural place in Southwest Wales, there's a bit of a demonisation of the 9 to 5. But news just in, it's actually pretty cushy. And, the office is a great environment. Working from home is great. You meet people from all over the world who are really interested as well. So I really would recommend giving it a try.
Brilliant. Thank you. Liv, coming back to you quickly. Now, you've mentioned your skills and why you like being a project manager. If you were saying to someone, perhaps over a glass of wine, let's just say that, what kind of traits or skills, thinking about the people listening to Careers Live this evening, what kind of skills would you say are suited to being a project manager, or you might want to develop if you're thinking about a career in project management?
Okay, I think I did touch on it briefly last time, but organisation, definitely being organised. And I think for me, using technology to help organise those plans. So I think, if you can use spreadsheets and planning tools, and that definitely is a skill that you could work on, you could practice, and you could do that at home, planning holidays, as people have mentioned before. But I think listening to people and building relationships really quickly. So certainly you end up going onto a project, and day one you're having to meet with people that you've never met before, quickly build relationships, establish yourself, work out who's doing what are they bringing to the party, and work out how you're going to work forward and keep those relationships going. And I think, doing that through a combination of listening, questioning, rapport building, I think they're all skills that people can be building and practicing daily.
Brilliant. Thanks, Liv. And then finally to you, Liam. So as you said, you did an apprenticeship programme when you joined Lloyds Banking Group. Just give us a little sense of, I'm hoping you enjoyed it, but just give us a sense of what it's meant for you and how it's developed you. And obviously it's led you into a role as a project manager.
Of course, yeah. So mine was, I guess, split in 2 ways. You had the academic side, which was essentially every 2 months or so we had a pretty meaty assignment to sink our teeth into. But all of those were based on what we were actually doing and, real life examples and real life ideas that we'd had from working in the space. So, if you were doing a sustainability module, you could actually, if you'd had an idea of something you could do at work, you could write about that and add in some academics to that. But then, more on the practical side, then it first of all, I guess, gave me the confidence to just go out there, try something new, jump in at the deep end and learn something new. But also, you've got that apprentice card, you can sort of use that to talk to anybody you want, grab half an hour with this person, grab half an hour from that person, and you find that people are really kind. They'll spend a lot of time with you, and you can learn so much about maybe different things that pique your interest, which when you're a project manager is great, because you've got, in my experience, I've got 4 or 5 projects on at any one time, so I can really vary what I'm learning.
Yeah, brilliant. That's fantastic. Thanks both. Well, hopefully that's been insightful for you guys listening on the call tonight or listening back on the YouTube. Elaine, am I handing back to you?
You can do, Sharon. Yeah. Well, I'm actually gonna hand over to Ian now, because Ian's gonna test people's knowledge with a game.
I am.
I love a game, Ian. I'm ready. I'm ready.
For this then, people, you need your phones for this one. I just wanted to go back on what Liam said, because I think this is really helpful whilst you're all kind of like getting your phones out on those things, is people are genuinely really generous. So if you see somebody on LinkedIn or you find an organization or whatever, and you're just curious, just ask to, there's no condition to it. Just say, can we have coffee? Can I have a chat? And I'm just curious about what it is that you do. I think it's a difference, like if you go in there and say, I want a job, are you going to give me one? And then they're probably going to go, that's a bit scary. But people are more generous than you think. And lots of us like to talk about our jobs and what we do. But anyway, on we go. Right, we're going to test your knowledge of project management now. So this is a chance for you. So if you can scan the QR code, we're going to test our project managers as well. We wait for a second to see if we can manage to get this one working in there. How are we doing, Gareth? Are we all ready to start Kahoot? Is it going to behave?
Looking good. I'm going to share the slide now. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, right. Let's have a look. Oh no, that's me. We don't want to see me again. We're just going to wait until Kahoot gets going. And you've got 10 questions around project management. And it says Gareth has started screen sharing. All we need now is the screen to appear.
The questions. Yeah.
Questions.
So let's see how people do with it, Ian. I think we've given a bit of info, haven't we, with our guests, and a bit of expertise has been shared.
Yeah.
So I'm
hoping. I seem to keep coming back on the screen. How are we doing here?
Yeah, it's just taken a little moment to load, but hopefully it will.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we've used Kahoot, haven't we, before as a little fun game on these things, haven't we, Ian?
We have.
And I think while we're waiting for the Kahoot to come up, I know time's flying already. It's 18:38. So if anyone's got any questions on the chat, feel free to put them in there. I can see that the chat's been buzzing along as we've been chatting through today.
I think there's a note from Fraser just whilst we're just checking in there around Prince 2 would give you advanced knowledge and quite costly. So APMP is a better option. So Fraser's putting in there. I think it's possible to feel an obligation to try and study project management and do all of your study in a university context. Actually, employers are much more amenable to taking you on and learning elements of your project management craft in situ, because I think sometimes you can learn the theory of it, but there's a certain bit, I think, where actually learning the theory when you have some practice of project management and it kind of gels and makes a little bit more sense in there. And I think Chris and Fraser picked up on this earlier on as well, that and Daryl was talking about managing that ambiguity, because despite your best intentions, sometimes life in projects just doesn't go according to plan. It doesn't go perfectly. And so there's a way of learning the theory of project management, but actually sometimes it's a little bit about putting these things into practice. So employers are not so worried about training you in the techniques of project management when you're actually in situ. Gareth, it looks as if Kahoot is not going to play with us tonight.
No, it doesn't seem to want to go. It says it's my screen is paused and won't load it for some reason. So
what a shame.
Okay.
Well, potentially we could come back to it maybe, Ian, but I think
what we can do, I think, is although we don't get that amazing opportunity to pit Fraser, Chris and Daryl against each other to see who is victorious in the project manager quiz, so they're saved any blushes on that one. What we can do is we can find the link to the Kahoot, because you can still do that at home anyway, and you can still test your knowledge.
John Banks, I'm part of the Apprenticeships team here at Lloyds Banking Group.
And there's John.
Hold on. Right, so that what you heard there was our one of our colleagues, John. So I think if for now we're gonna I'm not sure we're going to be able to do the Kahoot quiz today, but back to one of the other questions and things that we do get asked a lot, Ian, don't we, is about, when we do have roles here at Lloyds Banking Group, how do we actually recruit? What's the process like, etc., etc. So one of the things that people ask us is how we assess our candidates, and one of our colleagues is John Banks, and he is going to explain all of that to you now in a short video. So that was John, run VT.
Hey folks, my name is John Banks and I'm part of the Apprenticeships team here at Lloyds Banking Group. I hope you're enjoying your webinar so far today. And I just wanted to spend a little bit of time to talk you through the assessment and selection process should you choose to apply and join us as an apprentice in the future. So I guess first thing to say is we hire at Lloyds Banking Group based on personal strengths, behaviours and motivation to actually work within the group. And the majority of our apprenticeships don't have academic qualifications attached, and that will be dependent on the programme that you apply for. But generally speaking, because we're looking for hiring you as an individual and the type of behaviours and values that you represent, and we attach more value to that than we do academic qualifications. And if you are interested in applying, the first step to take then is to complete an initial online application. And as well as telling us a little bit about yourself, we'll do some basic eligibility checks just to make sure that you qualify for the apprenticeship. And really where you might fall down on that is almost if you were overqualified, because you can't undertake an apprenticeship unless there's a significant learning need. So for example, if you've already held a degree in your particular discipline, then the apprenticeship wouldn't work for you because you're actually qualified to degree level. But assuming that's okay, the first stage post application for you is you may be asked to undertake an online test to assess your strengths and your mathematical skills as well. And if you come through those tests achieving the relevant benchmark, the next step will be an interview. Now that interview can either be a face-to-face interview or it could be a video interview. And if you're applying for a level 2 or a level 3 apprenticeship, that will be the final stage. And as a result of that interview, you may be offered an apprenticeship position. If you are applying for a level 4+ apprenticeship, the final stage will be a follow-on assessment centre. And it's a virtual assessment centre, takes place for a full day, and it's made up of a further strengths-based interview and a series of virtual challenges. Don't be daunted by the assessment centre in any way, shape or form. It is a full day, and of course you are being assessed against other individuals who are looking to undertake an apprenticeship with ourselves. But it's a relatively fun day, it's relatively informal, and again, we just want to see the real you at that assessment centre. And we do recognise that people are different and want to make the process overall as simple and accessible for everybody. So if you do need any support with any of the steps through the selection and assessment process, we've got a dedicated mailbox. So it'll just be a case of calling out exactly what support you may need, or even if you've just got general questions about the process, full stop, that mailbox is on hand to answer any of those questions. And I guess if I were to give you a tip of how to prepare for either interview or assessment centre, I guess what we don't want is perfectly crafted and rehearsed answers and almost second guessing what we might want to hear. What we want to see is the real you. We want to see your passion for your apprenticeship and the discipline that you've chosen, and of course your motivation for working at Lloyds Banking Group. So that's the process. All of this information, and it will be elaborated on a bit further with some examples and further guidance, can be found at lloydsbankinggrouptalent.com. So definitely go and have a look at that site, have a little look around, some great case studies of some of our existing apprentices as well, who will talk about their journey, essentially how they came to undertake an apprenticeship and what it's like to live and breathe life in Lloyds Banking Group. And And just on lloydsbankgrouptalent.com as well, there is a little button that says register your interest. And why that's quite neat is you can go on and express an interest in particular disciplines of apprenticeship that you're interested in. And it just means whenever a vacancy then does come up, you'll get an automatic notification. So hope that all makes sense. Enjoy the rest of your webinar, and hopefully we receive some applications from many of you in the future. Good luck, folks.
Brilliant. Thank you so much to John. Now, just as a reminder, if there's anything that you've missed from tonight's live stream, you can view it all over again, plus all the past episodes of Careers Live on our YouTube channel. You just go to YouTube, put in Lloyds Careers Live, and you can see every past episode that there ever has been. Now, here is a short video with some other resources that will help you on your journey. Hi everybody, it's Ian here. If we've not met before in Careers Live, I look after early careers for Lloyds Banking Group. And this section of Careers Live is all about helping you with some of the resources that you can follow up with to help you manage your career. So these are some favorite websites that we have. And the first one, of course, as you'd expect, is Lloyds Banking Group's talent website. This is the point where you hold up your phone, scan the QR code. And on this site, you can find out all about our vacancies, how we recruit, how we assess people, what happens in the assessment centre, and you can read loads of stories of people who've also joined Lloyds Banking Group, whether on an apprenticeship scheme or also on a graduate scheme as well. Now, it's not just Lloyds that has these resources. So outside are two sites that are my favourites. One is the Association of Apprentices and the other is Amazing Apprenticeships. So taking a look at these, the Association of Apprentices is an organisation that exists to try and help apprentices with their journey once they've started. Now, the good thing for you is that if you're thinking about an apprenticeship, you can have a look at some of these resources as well. So there's some great resources around support for apprentices in making friendships, developing a sense of community, study buddies. There's all kinds of events, different kinds of development, lots of resources to help you. In case you're kind of wondering, what's the practicality of being an apprentice, being out in an organisation on your own? Association of Apprentices, really good. Another one is Amazing Apprenticeships. So Amazing Apprenticeships has so many resources. I could take the entirety of Careers Live just describing it, but you can learn all about apprenticeships, case studies, understand T-levels. It also has some very interesting sections as well if you come from a particular background. So if you're a care leaver, caregiver, different things that have happened in your life, there are special pathways that Amazing Apprenticeships have created to try and help you and guide you based on some of the background. And if you're a parent who's watching this evening as well, you've not been forgotten, because there are some great parents resources in the parent perspective section and some podcasts as well, which will help you. You can listen to them whilst doing things around the house or whatever, in case you want to kind of upskill yourself in how you can guide your young person in making some great career choices. So also in Amazing Apprenticeships are some learning bundles, some T-level bundles. So if you're in year 9, year 10, possibly year 11, still trying to think about where your destination lies, there's some useful resources for post-16 as well in this site. Now, let's not forget the government site. So the government has Find an Apprenticeship service for those who are looking for actual vacancies. You can type in your area, you can type in your postcode, how far you're willing to travel, what kind of apprenticeship you're interested in, and it will show you live vacancies that you can apply for. It's not perfect because it doesn't show you every vacancy that's out there, but it will show you some that employers have chosen to advertise on that site. The next site I want to show you is UCAS. You know UCAS from a university perspective, but also in apprenticeships, it has lots of resources. You can find out all about degree, higher and standard apprenticeship roles, graduate roles, internships, all in one place. Also, there's some great career resources here as well. So if you're not sure what you want to do yet, you can go to the UCAS site and find your next career. You can discover and learn about different employers. Again, it has a job finder and you can look by industry as well. There's also some good resources in practicality. So how to write a CV, how to write a covering letter, how to prepare for your interview, all in one site. Some really, really good, well thought through resources there. And if you're completely unsure what you want to do, then you can do the careers quiz from UCAS. You can type in some things around what you like doing, what you enjoy doing, what your personality is, and it'll suggest different careers for you as well. And you can research also by industry type. The only thing we would say researching by industry type is remembering that some professions, for example, you want to be a software developer or a coder or in DevOps or in data science, they run across all industries. You'll find data scientists in legal, healthcare, veterinary, public service, banking, finance, all sorts of things. So this is a way of understanding careers, but remember that a lot of jobs cut across different industry sectors. Another resource for you here is from the National Careers Service. So if you're looking at a vacancy and it's advertising with a salary of a certain amount and you're thinking, is that any good? Then you can go over to National Careers Service and it'll tell you what the typical salary ranges are for that particular job, what you can expect after training and all sorts of things as well, just so you can get a kind of second opinion as to whether that job advert is as good as it sounds. And finally, of course, we would say check out Careers Live, because we're a year into running Lloyds Careers Live. Imagine what's next. And there are lots and lots of resources there. You've got interviews with apprentices and graduates who are doing these jobs. You can check into all of those on our YouTube channel, listen to them, watch them back, pick up your hints and tips just when you need it as well. So wherever your career is taking you, there are lots of resources out there, and hope you found this section really helpful.
Thanks, Ian. A lot of info there. So hopefully everyone's found that really, really useful. But I can't believe the time has flown tonight. I mean, our time's almost up, Ian, which is unbelievable, really. But I mean, next month, as we said, first Tuesday of every month, next month, our Careers Live will be in the very capable hands of our colleagues Damon and Gronya. And we'll be exploring careers in cybersecurity with more expert guests and more apprentices who are carving out their careers in what is a very exciting field. So don't forget to join us again on the first Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock for Lloyds Careers Live, and you can register on the site that Ian has just talked about.
There we are. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you join us for tonight's Lloyds Careers Live. Imagine what's next. Wherever your career takes you, we wish you every success. Bye for now.
What does success mean to us?
Success is making a difference
for our customers and our communities.
Success is empowering people from the start,
building their confidence,
giving them tools to start their careers.
Success is putting our people first.
It's knowing when to listen
and making the time to talk.
Success is supporting causes we care about.
It's getting involved.
All hands on deck.
Success is making banking better.
It's engineering a fairer future.
Making progress and leaving no one behind.
Whatever shape it takes,
success starts with us.